We're up to where? The Rebbe Rashab. Did we start at least Zion, correct? Further beer in the two makif and makif harochik and makif hakorev and makif harochik, which correspond to Irin Sof Lamayla Adin Ketz. That's the makif harochik, the distant makif, essentially distant, essentially removed. Did we start this? So we'll do it again. Vind al derech mavum, but my lul bin ich to have makifim. Huh? Yeah, I know we did. That's how far he went down. Okay, so like it brings in the mind about the Makif, we just said this now. So third line, this is also addressed in the mind of the Berashab. Shmakifim yesh beis madreges two madreges makif the yosher, a transcendent light which is nonetheless a yosher direct, which means it's absorbed ultimately. A makif the rechoizer, and as we're explaining it, rechoizer here means that it's forever not absorbed. He does have it, but not absorbed. He has the moshel, he has the chida, he has the sipur. But the inyan of it, as the Rav has it, chayzer, that literally bounces off him. If that's the pshat, I don't know, but that's what I'm suggesting. Makiv der yosher shebam mechid as a giloi, so a yosher as a giloi, elu shalamayli b'chinas yistapshus b'chinas pnimi. So at this point, initially, certainly, it's a revelation, it's an idea in the moshel, but it's beyond his internalization. So he's talking the first stage, 40 years actually, it remains makiv. But gradually, not 40, it's not true. It's not like the 40th, all of a sudden, something dramatic happens. It's a process that leads to that. So we're already, as we're talking this, we're giving the moshel. So now he spells it out. So the moshel is a Rav and a Talmud. That which, whatever the Talmud can understand, that's called an inner light. He's absorbed it internally. That it settles in the brain, in the capacity of the mind of the Makabel. However, and the depth of this, so he's got part of it, but he knows there's more and he senses there's more. So that that remains transcendent, hovering. But it's still even that which is beyond is close and hovers, mamish, until the course of time it will be grasped. The Koyim Inish as expressed by Chazal, that a person, Koyim Inish, Rabbi, he comes to, establishes himself literally at the same level of his master's understanding after 40 years. What level does he arrive at? The depth of his chokhmah in this very seichel. What he's saying in these words is that overall he reaches a state of maturity. But that's that which he taught him 40 years earlier. He now understands it as he understood it, as the understands it, as the Rav understands it.
At that point, the what was makif becomes not makif anymore.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. To the Pnimi, he's on the level of the Rav. He's equal to the Rav. The Rabbi means he's now he understands there's a mind developed and understands everything like the Rav does. He's developed the Rav's since insight, understanding, and he's internalized it. He adds here, Gam Seichel Zeh. This idea too they learned 40 years ago. It's not a new thing, it starts then. Only. That's all Makif HaKorev, which is a Yosher. It's a direct revelation that gradually is assimilated by the Talmud. But it's never revealed, not even in a way that's makif, because in the first marshal, he senses there's a depth. He doesn't understand it, but he knows there's more. That's what's called makif. He's not even makif. He's not even aware. In the story, there's absolutely zero of the sipur, the moshel, the chida, zero awareness of the seichel, of the idea. He's just got the story. It's a closed matter altogether. Adarabba. Kol inyonu yahipech hashefa. The whole point of Makif HaRochek is that nothing is drawn in a revealed way, but the point made earlier was, so that, but the point is the whole thing. It does protect him from the rain and so on, like the bias. And other protects even the lavush. And it's a profound effect on him, even more than the Makif HaKoreh, but not belief in Pnimi. Not belief in Pnimi at all. But it affects him, it protects him, and this is the Oitzer. Otherwise, what's the point of the Oitzer if it's completely removed from him? He's given the Oitzer, but the Oitzer is a way of Makiv HaRochek. It's an Atzmistic thing. But Makiv HaRochek is what the Rabbi is giving you, that is fundamentally concealed. And then, again, I'm just running together the Moshel and the Nimshal simultaneously. A very deep idea, it's fundamentally concealed. It's called the God's hidden seichel, hidden from every idea possible. Mikol Rayin, yeah, that's what I emphasize in Mikol Rayin. It's a Lashon Zohar. Although he says see Torah, no, he doesn't send it to the Zohar. Maybe it's not the Zohar. It's from Kubolim. Moishe B'Maimeh, he adds in the Maimeh B'Yilula, B'Imek Yoser. So that if you recall that the Frierdiker Rebbe then adds at the end of the Oy something deeper. And the Rebbe says this is a deeper moshel, it's a deeper model. It's the same moshel, but now another dimension or another episode in the Rav Talmud relationship. And that is, and the Rebbe says, Shinyin Zeh, the second moshel, or the second illustration, it's the same moshel Rav and Talmud. Niki Yoser, we can see this more. See what more? That it's an inyan which is fundamentally removed and never comes away from Pnimi, although he gets it. He has it, not gets it, has it. And that is what? What happens when the Rav himself, this is Makif HaRochek, this is Seichel HaNelam. But the Rav himself is considering it and thinking about it and deepening it in his own mind. Now, you would think that would spill over because there's Gilui going on, and you can't contain Gilui. Light will spread, and yet, although there's light in the mind of the Rav, it never gets to the Talmud. So it's a more subtle moshel. It's a more illustrative moshel. That even, not only the idea by the Rav as he conceives it at its most sublime original level, it's beyond the Talmud, even as he develops it in his own mind, it's still beyond. So it brings that even greater, the Be'in Aroich, the Makif HaRochek. That's what he says now. That's what he's saying that. In Nika Yoser, we see the uftu, the chidush, the nature of the relationship of Makif HaRochek. It's more demonstrated in what he says, the second part. And that is, when he's being mischakem, so if the master is deepening his understanding, that's more revelation. So there's more oil by him. It's still a oil batzmusay. No shaykhs to the Talmud. That's even a bigger demonstration. Omnam kol ze be'oil seichel, not be'oil. So yeah, seichel shebetnuah, yeah, seichel shebetnuah shalam shach v'gili. When do we say that there's real revelation? If there's this chakmos, if it's deepened by the Rav, it's going to end up with manifested oil. That's to begin with the seichel, isn't it? To am shach v'gili oil yosher. Should the Gemara say benimshal? What is it? L'mayla riyin insaf lamata adin tachlit. That's the chatchila oil, which has a shayches to begin with the mata. When there's a greater revelation, the mile of that, it'll trickle down to the mata. But then we're talking seichel omak yoser shul sosa betzim, which is fundamentally hidden, even within the Rav. Again, tzorich iyun godel, what that means in the mind of the Rav. Shekalolis and mahusa oiru betnu these almos, that the whole oir is betnu these almos. Again, I'll just say what I've suggested, and I haven't it otherwise. It's al derech nekudas hachachma, and it's like shas hakrav, it's like machshava lagabe dibur. Still doesn't satisfy fully, but that's at least giving us some understanding of how it is by the Rav. So here it's in the way to this alma the gmose but nimshal. What is it? The nimshal in the itself lamayla the catch. It's not the matter. That's the maila the catch. The words of the fitting of helem achar helem. Stim the whole stimin. Nigam mashal is gala love. Even as the master is thinking deeper, it's still oir batzmosay. As a boyfriend shall live the lo mis alem batzmosay. That's a bigger pella. There's giloy, but it still doesn't translate in classic giloy. It's still giloy within self. Again, to translate that in Oisius and Seichel, lo yedeya. But the way it is, the Maila is clearer. As I told you, the Nimshal isn't clearer to understand. Because what's the whole Sosum is, ain't it Mulvade Atzmos. So Atzmos cannot be expressed. And so the more, Adarabba, the more the truth of you're the only reality, the less Gilu is Shaykh to that. So the Nimshal is verstandig. It's an emotional. It's hard to understand, huh?
Is it Asmus? He says it's Erin Seif Lamayla in case.
Gilui Batzmusay. It's the Gilui Batzmusay. That's a contradiction in terms. Etzem Bilti Mizgalas. What does it mean? Gilui Bambutzay means, I'm suggesting, it's a statement that says, Ein det Mulvadoy. That's the Gilui. The Gilui is that he's the only Metzias. That's what it conveys truly. But it's conveying it. The ep is conveying. But what is it conveying? Yes, Gilui. It's conveying that he's the only reality that's fundamentally can't be articulated. So it's the in words of the Maimon, revelation of self to self within self. To put it in different words, it's God's consideration that he's the only reality. God considering is the only reality. God articulating with himself, he's the only reality. There's a deeper level of there's no considerations. That's it. Get schlofen. But when Dabish is Gili Batzmusay, L'chayra means, again, it's actually clearer L'mayla in the Nimshal. Because when you give a marshal of Seichel, Seichel is Gedarim already. We're speaking to Adam Ashpin, a Meshalim of emotions is different. Like he's in the therapy and he can't express it. The deep feelings the person has. Das verstehe ich. Because midas are rooted deeper than Seichel and midas. It's a whole different world. But if you give me much of a Rav and a Talmud and a Seichel, it's much harder to understand. Much harder. But in the Nimshal, again, verstandig. Because what's the Kol about Mosai? It's an articulation of Eined Mulvada. A consideration of Eined Mulvada. Never articulable in what. So what is it? So what is this Atzmos you're talking about? There's nothing to say. Not by the Rav and not by the Talmud equal. Other than he is. But in the Nimshal, it's a Gilui what expresses that truth. Again, you're all welcome to even Adab Shat. The whole world that's listening can do so. I can't do better. Okay, let's go further. Where are we up to? Yeah. So even that what's revealed by the Rav, the oir is still removed from what? From otherness, period. Or and is hidden within his very being. Now continues. Now comes even the bigger pella, that this Seichel Atzmi is given over in the end. But not in a way of Seichel, but in a way of whatever Sipur. Again, the Marshal of Hashem is the best Marshal, the clearest Marshal for me to understand. The Dafka, when the Ben has absolutely no conscious relationship with him, what's left is the Tainug, the deepest Tainug is my child. Stripped of any common experience. It's not a marshal of Seichel, it's a marshal of a Ben, which is a chilik of the father. It's easy, it's clear to understand that there. That's the marshal he brings for the Sipuri of the Torah. What's a Sipur of Torah? It's the Chacham Mechel that said, I'll talk to him. And he gets down and gets his language and his clothes. And he brings him to the king. So that's clearer to understand. It's one thing. So forgetting that, good. I think we did this yesterday. I don't know, I'm talking about it so much. I don't know what I said, where. Okay. So the Rebbe Shab continues, it is given over where, but Misholim v'chidus in the parables and the riddles. Shebehem muster the whole idea is completely hidden. He cannot grasp it at all from the moshel. And as he said, that I pointed out earlier, that which we do understand from the Misholim of Shlomo Melech is because the Chachamim will megalit beruach HaKodesh. Otherwise, you could never reveal the idea. The etzem is given over. So here too, tzarich in. So what does that? What does the Talmud have from this? But what does he have? In the Nimsha, we understand that the soldier, the chayil, that's you and I, and the trenches are given over the koyach, the inyan of what? Admo that the Atzmo says invested and given, though you can't experience it. But what does the Talmud have in the Moshel? What's the point of this? He's walking around with a Moshel. In that Moshel, you have the whole, but he has absolutely zero appreciation. Now, okay, elsewhere, Chassidus is mavur that every prat of the Moshel is not stam thing. The Moshel is talking something foreign, but every prat of it, when the Rav looks at the Moshel, he doesn't see a Moshel, he sees the idea. So, on some atzmizdika level, I mean, in Seichel, in the world of Seichel, what does he gain? Tzorich Ian Godel. Again, in the Nimshal, it's understood. In Nimshal, you have atzmizdika koyfes that are beyond Seichel and Midas. You're empowered with an essential koyach to defeat the enemy, and you will, because when you are firing with Eined Mulvadoi, there's no hell of Hester anymore. Can't be. Can be hell of Hester on Giluyim. Can't be hell of Hester on Atzmos. And that's the oitze that's given. That's why victory is assured. So the Nimshol, it's verstandig. Koiches Atzmim. Yechidah Shebenefesh is revealed. Etzem on the Shom, even higher than Yechidah. It's Eira Muster, Mamish Kol. It's given over. It's given. But the Moshel, again, difficult to understand what exactly has been accomplished. Other than, I was thinking the other day, this is now a whole new perspective on this. Like I'm asking, if the Talmud cannot get the Seichel, so what are you giving him? So what do you? No, but then the Rav loves the Talmud so much, and he wants to give him everything he has and is. Everything. So the Seichel that shaykh to the Talmud he can give him, but the Seichel doesn't let him know he can't give him even Seichel, but I got to give him. I want to give him me. So he puts himself in a story, and that result is it's his story, his mosh that he's given him, and in that moshel is the atmizdike. So the Talmud has it. He doesn't appreciate what he has, never know what he has, but he has it. So it's expressive of the essential love of the Rav. It's also the Moshe of the Baal Shem Tov. That whole Moshe to explain the Sipurim in the story of Torah. The Eibishter wants that every Yid should have him. The kid doesn't, the child doesn't, there's no common language, but can't even talk to him, they don't speak the same language. But I want you to have me. So he puts himself where? He gives him the Misholim and the story and the Sipur. You have me. Like, perhaps, let's go further. In the second mime, when Levi Spaltem in the class, me a Shiloh, the second mime, Tavshim Memvav, Klotzkash. They really, we need, I threw it out on all the WhatsApps, didn't get an answer. So stay tuned for further excitement. So now, give back to the Barashah. There's a tiny kaposh that you referred to earlier. And here's the Maile When he gets emotional, because he's not just getting a ha'ara, like in the lower seichel, he gets a ha'ara, and then he develops after 40 years and gets the seichel. But initially, he's only getting a ha'ara, nimshach in the previous. Here, when he gets that story, he's got the whole thing from the get-go. You got the story? From the initial get-go, everything. You got it all. Moishe, we following all this. So yeah, okay. Even the Yosef being a taindog, he said this earlier. Come on, now he's spelling it out. There's two kinds of taindog. Shesh tainag, murkav, tainag, poshut. There's murkav means a fusion, a better word. Murkav, a composite, which simply means a tainag from something else, from this, from that, and you can point to the various components. And then there's tainag poshut, a simple tainag that transcends any because of. And here, the formula to understand this is what? Can you tell me? We spoke about it earlier. Define Tainig HaPashak in simple language versus Tainig HaMurkav. Tainig HaPashak means ultimately it means the Tainig from self, not from something else. So why are you enjoying that? Because that touches me at the core. That's me. Tainig HaPashak is when you have a Tainig in something where it's not about any experience, but that reflects me. That is me. Again, the Bashem Tez Moshel. What's the relationship between the father and the son? Not language, not clothing, not culturally, nothing. So what's left? My child, we're one soul. That's Tainik HaPoshek. And that's what the king wants. The Tainik Yoser he wants. Doesn't want the conversational Tainik and the emotional Tainik. Yeah, we had that when we were growing up together. It's wonderful. I want us to be connected to the deepest essential level, and that's all stripped away. And you're just my child that shows up, and we're just looking at each other. And I mean, there's nothing to say because you don't have any language. And you're looking blankly because you don't even remember where you came from. You don't even know who I am. But you're here. That's the Tainik HaPoshut. Now, there's two dargas. Oh boy, but Tainik HaPoshut gufa. Yes, oifen she'en le'achize b'shum dover. This is in Tainik HaPoshut, everything is relative. There's a level where there's absolutely, the Tainik cannot be attributed to anything, any experience. It's an essential state of being tainug. Not about any experience outside of self. Adarab. When the person has experienced two tainig, he's absolutely silent. There is no expression. He's in the oifen of his stalkos. The mile ve'elishum tnua klal. There's no expression. There's no tnua. The Yosef b'b'chinas oir chayze b'atzmus edafke. This moment he's connecting with his child, with his soulmate. It's oir chayze. It's a connection to the deepest part of himself. The head that Agili Vamshacha Lagambi without any revelation, because this child is his spouse. This is me, touches me there. We're connected at that level. Like back to the Moshel the Seichel. And likewise, it's a very deep idea. Again, in the Nimshal, it's the ended Mulvadoi. It cannot be revealed. It's not a truth that can be. Now, articulate what that means. It cannot be. It's an articulation by its nature, points this way. Not articulation, him. Come on. Let me again. Hashem Yeracham Aleinu, that we should understand, get what you're saying. The dik is applied in Avodah. I mean, in a way, the whole Maimon is like what we're talking about. The whole Maimon. What's a Maimer? The Rebbe giving over himself in the Maimer. That's Moshe Mamish. Ono nafshi like Lamai, like Sovas, his whole being is given over in the Maimer. And we're struggling with understanding it. But we have it. The empowerment, the connection, the discussions, the kochsach and Rebbe's avot, that's what we have. About it, it's a Maimer Chassidus Chabad, we got to understand it too. So that it filters down to the heart as well and then motivates and excites the behavior. So now it's finished with Ois Tezayin. It's taking us to the next one, giving us a preview. Mamshe, I just saw, by the way, made it a good thing, just to read the whole. See how well you can see it yourself. Benji Pearson, you know who he is? We should hear good news from him. Bakariv, Mamish. So he's David Raskin, one of his grandchildren. He's became a fine writer. I became a writer going to Literature, I don't know. But that's what we're seeing. These guys have learned a word of English formally are writing like. So he's writing about his. I just looked at a piece. Yechidus, and that his uncle David Raskin, the legend of David Raskin, has a bocher head. And my eye fell on this piece. The Rebbe tells him that every ois of a maimer, ois, should be translated into avodah. This portion of instruction how to think about the maimer during davening. It's in English. Go on COL. It was posted yesterday or Friday. I'm going to print it out. It's instructions to a bocher. But this was a chiddush to me. Like every ois, the ois. I mean, it's in the middle. There's only questions. There's the whole explanation. At the end of the whole maimer, you've got the package. Okay, now apply it. No. Every ois, for that matter, it leads every line. But okay, why? Because this is taka the nimshal. Because in every ois the etzem is nimshach. Every ois is the whole is the eibishter atzmus. So it's applicable in the deepest way, even though there are unquestioned answers and giluyim, which haven't finished answered, and still darkest the calm, and it's unfinished. It's unfinished begiluyim in terms of seichel, but be'etzem every ois is everything. In Russia, in the early days, they used to get my marim. They were missing the beginning, missing the end, and it doesn't matter. You got to lived with that, and that was. Okay. So look it up, fellas. There's very kedai. Yeah, so after he finishes Sif 16, Mamshech Levaida Dugman Bezebeir, so he explains the parallel of Maila. There's a level of to begin with is about articulation and revelation to others, otherness. And then there's a revelation that it's not about otherness, vamshacha, and being drawn klal ba'olamis within the world. On the contrary, it's within self. Again, it's God considering himself. Now, why would he do that? If we're correct in our understanding. Because before others can consider him, he's got to consider himself first. So he gives rise to the notion of consideration. I think this is my suggestion. I could be off, but I'm just. That's the Oirishim Mis'alol Miskalo Batzmosei, which ultimately is the source of the lower Oir, but it's a different world. This is Batzmosei, and the second Oir, which actually must come from it at the end, is about articulating the truth of God to what's going to end up being a created being that in his own experience is completely independent and separate. So again, what I'm suggesting is something novel. What's this point of this? And moreover, here the Eibishter considering himself, that's what he's giving in the Moshel, in the Sipur of Torah. Know me as I know myself. You know me, have me as I have myself. Again, I'm saying Oisius here, either good or not good. And this is the Oitzer. So we're getting down to the bottom line. This, friends, this what we get. This Atmi is Diker Giloi, which I believe this is what it means. The revelation of a God within self. It's the first possible articulation. But it's completely within self. This truth, That's the oitz that's given to every Yid. Hashem shoitz ad yosas with an element called just like the treasure. It's fundamentally hidden from all view, all eyes. That's this level. Atzmos cannot be apprehended. There's incomparable, nothing to compare it to. It can't be articulated. There's no gdorim. It's fundamentally closed. It's not beyond us. So it's relatively sosim. No, Elisha sosim, it's at atzma. It's non-articulable. Not, give me the word. Non-articulable. Yeah? Okay. I think I'm not missing a few letters in there. No? Okay. Stima the whole stimin. Hidden means relative. Stima the whole stimin means hidden from the hidden. Beyond. And nothing more to be said because nothing is added. When is it not accessible? When it's not a matter of nitzochen? When victory is not when the stakes are not the survival and the whole raison d'art of the state. But when it's milchama. As a Peschim when they open and they give the treasures which are sealed and closed. Komos means closed, hidden from generation to generation. How is it given? Like we said before in the stories of the Torah. Like a marshal. It's given in a hidden way. So you have it all. It must be given hidden because it cannot be articulated. Like in the marshal of the Rav. In the marshal of the Oimik, the Makif Arachik, he gives in the story, he's got the whole Seichel, the whole Eitzel is there. In Yonai Shalamakabal, this now becomes in Yonai. Can't find a better word. It's the Inyan, it's the possession of the Makabal. Not he understands it, it's not understandable. But he has it. Therefore he's empowered to use it for the Milchama, by which he achieves victory. So what is it? What's he empowered with? The atmis of the Neshama, rooted in the atmis of Hashem, with which, in the face of which there can be no opposition and victory is assured. Okay, we'll continue Beis Hashem tomorrow, concluding by Zoom only.